And we're live, episode number 17 of Cody's Business Show with my longtime friend, successful business owner of Good News Junk Removal, Alix Robinson. How the heck are you, man?
Having one of those days as an entrepreneur.
We are recording for the second time because he got two back-to-back business phone calls. You got a crew out right now, right? And I mean, doing stuff.
Yeah, and well, one of the calls was from my mechanic. All right, so we have a dump truck. Uh, our hydraulic pump that we use that lifts the truck up and down. It just broke, so we just thought it was. We just thought that we needed to put hydraulic fluid in there.
Mm-hmm.
Hydraulic fluid, put it in there. My mechanic looked at it and he said the pump is actually broken.
Mm-hmm.
We have to buy a new pump, and that is the fun part of being an entrepreneur. Everything falls to you, and just like I appreciate the introduction and the words, and it's just funny because sometimes as an entrepreneur, you don't feel like you're like successful, so you feel like you're in the thick of it. You feel like you're over your head. You feel like you just want to do something else. So yeah, it's it's fun. It's fun.
Man, I'm really inspired by your story and being a part of it. I've known you for a long time I remember you working part time for an HVAC company or something, and I remember you telling me I want to start my own company, and you've done it. Um, I guess you probably won't brag on yourself, but I mean, you've bought all this equipment, these trailers, you got multiple trucks, multiple crews, and you're out, making real money doing junk removal. And, if you can't tell by the name Good News Junk Removal and his necklace and just his whole being, he's a big, Christian and shares his faith, very often with customers and people like that. And so, it's just really cool, man. Like seeing your success is very inspiring to me. So
Yeah, I appreciate that. I remember, what year was it, Cody, that we sat down? Was it I think it was either
2018.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah, gotta be.
Yeah. So 2018. I remember my son was 1 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Out now we have three little ones, and we're done. I don't know how you guys, but maybe that'll be for another podcast where we talk marriage and children and that headache. But
Yeah.
um, no, I remember we sat down 2018 and we were talking, and you were talking about doing your thing, and just to see where you are is like it's it's inspiring. It's been inspiring to me. You made it happen, and I love the motto, work super hard, enjoy your family, and just the way that, like, honestly, I don't even know how you have time for your family by all this. I'm like, Cody, how do you do all that you do and then still have time for your
That's funny.
guys? Do it, man, and you're doing it, and it's great, man. You're inspiration to me also, so thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you saying that. That house where we had that dinner is the house that I started really selling stuff out of the garage. We started selling gym equipment out of that garage there in that city, and so it kind of grew from there, and then now you kind of know what we're doing. Let's talk about your business a little more though. So somebody calls you, they say, hey, I have a junk removal. Like what do you specialize in? What is your like bread and butter? What are you doing day to day?
So day to day, we're doing like garage cleanouts. We're doing residential, um, like as far as like basement cleanouts, furniture removal,
Yeah.
like stuff like that. And then we have construction site cleanups. We're doing, you know, post construction like demolition, like if it's a deck or drywall, bathrooms, demo. Um, then we work with investors who buy and sell properties as is. So that like be our commercial side, one of our niches. They buy properties as is. And of course, people are jumping at the fact like I don't have to deal with any of my stuff. I get to leave it. I get to take some cash. And these homes are distressed. We come in, clear it out. And so that's kind of our day to day. We're just removing junk.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, you're charging a fair amount for it. I mean, this isn't a charity. Like you're building a real legitimate business. Um, what equipment did you start with in the beginning when it was just you?
Um, so it was 2015. So 8 years ago, I bought a 16-foot box truck, and the truck was like $4,000, I think. And this crazy thing is the truck, like that truck has been such a beast. It was a 2004. It was a 2004. What was it? I haven't used it in a while. I think it's an E350. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a box truck E350. I bought it back in 2015 for about like $4,000, 4,500, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, it just went out last year October with the transmission problem, and
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't got it fixed yet. But we came from loading in the box truck to unloading, and when I tell you, we put everything in there, like tedious and like I'm talking about. All right, we go from construction, with construction debris, you got nails and stuff like that. So we're climbing in the truck, our feet with nails. Like it's crazy, we got
Yeah.
poke stories, like, and we're just having to load it in piece
Yep.
by. I'm talking about from construction debris, wood. We're talking about tile. That's
Book collections.
We're talking about books. We're talking about shingles. Like, and I'm talking about piece by piece.
Yeah.
And so we started with the box truck, and it was tedious. And we had our box truck from 2015, and I was kind of getting into it, not really knowing what I was doing. Just was posting on Facebook like, "Hey, if you need junk removed or if you need moving, um, call this number." So I would like my niche was Facebook, and there were like these big Facebook community groups where I would post there
Yeah.
like, and then when I got a contact with, I think uh, he worked for like an investor company,
Mm-hmm.
and um, they did like little renovations. So like that was the niche. They did renovations. He would keep me busy with like 3 or 4 jobs per week. And mind you, this is just at this time it's just me going out by myself.
Yeah.
Like there would be bags of construction debris, sometimes furniture, and it would be all outside. So I would pull up by myself, load the truck,
Yeah.
and use hand trucks, whatever I had to use.
Yeah.
Um, I was just working by myself. Like it was just me. I didn't really. So then eventually, like that was my main source. Eventually, when I would keep posting, I wouldn't get any hits. It got pretty like slow. Then they kind of started doing things different, and I was like, man, it's 2016 now, and I got married in October, and I'm like, well, I have a wife now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm like, this is kind of slow. So then I was like, I need to work. And the crazy thing is, I was on a job site for somebody else, and like I'm a talkative person. Like people are there, and I just talk,
Yeah.
and it was crazy because I was actually I think I was sharing like my testimony with this guy, and then I just asked him what did he do, and he's like, I'm the owner of this mitigation company. And then I asked him like, are you guys looking for any help? And he's like, yeah. meet me at my office Monday. I think this was like a Friday. Meet me at my office Monday at 7:30, and we'll go from there. So
Yeah.
I got hired on the spot, no interview, no nothing, and then I started working with him. And the beautiful thing about that company, the guy met me on a job site, so he knew that I was doing my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
He took me in and said, "Hey, whenever you have work and it makes more sense for you, you can take that work."
Yeah.
So like it was like basically I was making my schedule working for him. So anytime I needed to work for him, the hours were available. And anytime I didn't need to work, because I had other things pop up, he let me do that. So I had an umbrella at that time to work and still build my business at the same time,
Yeah.
which was crazy because you when you hire somebody, you're not supposed to be you're not supposed to be an inconvenience. They're not supposed to be
Yeah.
inconvenient. You know what I mean? And he hired
Totally.
me knowing that I'm an inconvenience, and he like it was crazy. So
Yeah. You kind of had this safety net where it's like, I'm gonna go for it. But if there's a, I've also got a wife and bills and things like that. So if there's a gap where I need to fill the gap, I can go, contract and work for this guy.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I was
Very cool.
super thankful. That was like I always tell him like, man, how much I appreciate it,
Yeah.
and yeah, he was such a huge blessing in my life, and I was like, man, I would love to be able to pay that forward, and I
Sure.
actually had the opportunity to do that for one of our employees.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
It
Uh,
was
yeah. I think about that, and I'm a huge proponent for self-employment. If you can figure out how to be your own boss, in that situation, I had a similar gig with an insurance agent, and I worked part-time for him for a while, and you know, it was kind, with everybody else on the team, he's like, kind of just being this hard person, like, I need you exactly blah blah blah. I need you here at this time, and you can't leave, and all this. But with me, he wouldn't do that, because I had, you walk a little bit different when you have like, I can go and do whatever I want to do because
yeah,
I employ myself. There's no other man that can tell me,
yeah,
you have to be up at 9 a.m. or you have to do whatever, or you can't take an hour and a half lunch instead of an hour lunch. And so, I tell people, if you can figure out how to grow this in, with the reselling and building an Amazon business and all that, if you can figure out how to grow that into employing yourself eventually, that's a huge deal. And I mean, you're a perfect example of that. Nobody can tell you what to do now. I mean, I know the neighborhood of some of the numbers you're putting up with revenue and like the success you're having. Like, it's the Alix show. Like, you are the guy. You have the full say of what you're gonna do, and that's just the coolest thing to me. That freedom and then kind of control of your time and your energy and where you spend it and that sort of thing.
yeah, for sure. That for me that was the most benefit for me as an entrepreneur because as yourself, I'm a family man. Um, my house comes before anything.
Yeah.
Where my heart breaks for men, women, whoever is where they're giving their all outside of their home,
Yeah.
and then their home gets the leftovers. Like
Sure.
that was one thing that um, I absolutely did not want to happen. And I understand like seasons where that happens.
Yeah.
That's what we go through seasons, but like for me, that's the end goal because there's nothing more important than my family, my wife, my children. Like they need me here, so
Yeah.
the for this to be an avenue to create time, you know, and eventually get into a place where I'm not working for money, but money is working for me. Like that's like the mindset that just want to continue. And just being a godly man, honestly,
Yeah.
man of faith. I'm not when I and I want to clarify uh when I say a godly man, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm such a godly man. I'm saying
Yeah.
like God, you know. So having that component where I'm believing and I'm seeing God open doors and make connections, and just believing that, you know, I would say I'm not, when you hear about these these entrepreneurs and some of these stories and success stories and stuff like that, like one of the common themes are like, I don't, for a lack of better way to say it, people are just like killing themselves. Like I remember they just did a meme on like Instagram or something where they're like, wake up at 1:47, don't drink any water. Like it was like, it's a meme, it's a joke, but they're like, don't drink any water, work 36 hours a day. Like they were just
Yeah.
saying that,
Hustle culture.
you know what I mean? And it's just like they're just tearing themselves down.
Hmm.
My experience with God has been from a place of rest. Like I'm seeing, and mind you, I'm not saying not to work hard, but I'm
Sure.
saying that, you know, God is opening those opportunities and those doors where things are working for you. Like that.
Sure.
Like, and so that's really the big testimony. Like we got the name Good News Junk Removal because
Yeah.
of the news, you know, Jesus Christ died for our sins. And not only did he die for our sins, but he was completely righteous. He did no wrong. And now by faith, we get to receive his obedience. So not only did he take our punishment, but he gave us um, his obedience. So now when the Father sees us, he sees us through the lens of Jesus Christ, you know. So that's really the heart behind everything, you know, being an entrepreneur, to glorify God, create time for my family, which is absolutely like nothing even comes close. Like that's the core principle for me. And, you know,
Sure.
everybody defines success, you know. Everybody has a different definition of success.
Yeah.
You know, I don't, when the goal is money, you know, I personally don't agree with that, you know, because the stuff that people are doing for money and then, you know, weighing on their mental and people that are taking a hit who we're supposed to be accountable for is like all because we successful, you know, and then we accumulate all this outward stuff, outward stuff, but then inside we're broken and we're dying, and then the people around us are suffering because we're not fulfilling our role. So
Yeah.
that's where I stand on that.
Sounds like your faith is a big thing to you. I mean, that's something that's really helped you, get where you're at.
Yeah, it's everything for me. Like, um, so as I said in 2015, when I bought the truck, I really didn't have any clear vision,
Hmm.
and I didn't know if I wanted to do junk removal or moving.
I
And
remember.
for me, it was prayer was the catalyst for junk removal. Like
Yeah.
prayer was the catalyst for junk removal. So like for me, faith is everything for me.
Yeah, you got that direction. Hey, you moved at least one person because that person was me, and and I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Uh,
Yeah.
but okay, so I'm listening to your story. I remember you telling me that in the early days you would negotiate with the customer if they could get it outside. That you, or like if they lived, if it was like in a upstairs, or like if they lived in an apartment, if they could get it to the bottom floor, that you would do the job a lot cheaper because it was just you.
It was
So
just
you
exactly.
can drag. I can picture you like an ant dragging some mattress or something by yourself, into your truck.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So where are you at now? I mean, tell us about your business today. Um, actually, if you're open to it, the job that I came in was a part of, and I have some thoughts on that too. But uh, what would you mind breaking down like that job, how you bid on it, how you got that job, and then maybe some of the numbers, or just a piece of it. Would you be open to sharing some of that?
Yeah. So where we are now, again, we started in, well, I started in 2015 by myself, and then 2018 I started working for the other company part time. I think it was 2018, or I think it was like the end of 2017. I know we spoke in 2018, but I
Okay.
think for them in 2017.
Okay.
And I think I was working there for maybe like a year. So at sometime 2018, I think I branched off and started doing junk removal full time, if I can remember correctly, somewhere in 2018. Now, mine bought the truck. Um, I didn't have a website. Super important
Sure.
in your industry. A lot of things that I had to kind of go back and like learn, because it's not like I had an entrepreneur, instructor, or mentor, or it's
Sure.
not had some type of degree or schooling behind it. Like I
Yeah.
was learning as I go. So we started from the bottom, like we started from the bottom, just me,
Yeah.
and no loans, no any none of that. So then, and I believe it was the COVID year, 2020, when I was talking to my mom, and she was telling me, because she does pest control in like the Chicago area. That's where
Okay.
I was born, in that area, and I moved to Georgia in 2015, the year that I bought the truck. How I
Okay.
came across this business was my sister knew a guy out here in Georgia who had a box truck, who was just doing scrap metal, like so scrap metal, picking up metal, like appliances, any metal
Yeah.
free. So he was picking it up for free, taking it to the scrapyard, getting some money for it. If somebody needed
Yeah.
charcoal, put it in the truck, getting paid for it. If somebody needed small moves, so he was doing that, and he was making like good money. Like it was just him. He would just get some guys here and there to help him whenever he needed. He's making $200 a day, probably $200-300 a day.
Yeah.
He's not working that many hours. Can't complain.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can do that. So I came out here, and I started like helping him out, and I was seeing what he was doing. And but as I went on, like I understood, like I wanted more than that, basically. Like, cuz it was like he stayed doing it by himself. And I wanted to be in a position again to where I make money, and then the money that I take, that's working for me.
Yeah.
The moreover, like management, overseeing,
Yeah.
sending crews, making those type of decisions, so that I can create more time, because he was always in the field. Like he had to go out, and I wanted to work to get away from going out, right?
Yeah.
So we bought the truck. Then in 2020, my mom had a pickup truck that she was not using. So I was like, you know, I was thinking about buying like a little trailer. I bought a trailer, a 6x10 trailer for like $1,000. My mom gave me, she gave me, it was a 2000, I think it was like a 2007 Ford Ranger.
Okay.
So I flew out to Chicago, picked up the truck, bought a trailer. So now I have a box truck, and I have like a 2007 Ford Ranger and a trailer.
Yeah.
you know, I'm feeling good, because like I got two trucks now. I'm going.
Yeah.
2 crews. So mind you, the trailer wasn't that big, but we were doing what we can do in it, you know.
Sure.
And when I tell you guys, we would load that thing down. Man, like I'm talking about overflow, over.
Yeah.
We were pack specialists. Like we might as
Yeah.
well pack rats because we're overflowing this trailer. Like
Yeah.
we're we're fitting jobs on this thing that's never supposed to fit on this thing, and we're
Yeah. Yeah.
hoovering it, trying to tie things down. Like we're tarps. Like we're doing like it, the way we worked that thing till we couldn't work it anymore.
Yeah.
Eventually, from up north, the bottom rusted out. The bottom was rusty, so I didn't have much time with it. So we had maybe we maybe had a good like 7-8 months with it.
Okay.
So at this time, I'm seeing like, oh man, this thing is breaking down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we're already picking up more jobs to where I'm like, okay, I gotta get something else. I have to accommodate for that.
Yeah.
And mind you, through this process, remember in 2015 we didn't have a website, we didn't have anything. We got our website in like 2018, and then once you put your website up, you get your Google My Business.
Yeah.
You're out there, and you want to be aware of your marketing sharks. Everybody's gonna call. So I went through the trial and error of certain marketing guys. It was like, I wasn't paying much in marketing. It was like $250 a month, something small, something like I'll out. But through it all, I went through like maybe 2 different marketing guys. Then I one contacted me, and he actually started like doing stuff, and stuff started working, and we like $500 a month. A budget ended up getting to $1,000 a month, but so then we have the dump truck, we have the trailer 6x10, and then we have the Ford Ranger. The Ford Ranger goes out. So then I was like, okay, I want something bigger because I want to get a dump trailer. These dump trailers, you need something more powerful to haul it with.
Mm-hmm.
And my mechanic friend had a Tundra, and it needed a new engine. So then, okay, I'll pay for the engine, and then you put the engine in, and then I'll use the Tundra to get a dump trailer. So it turns out I found a dump trailer, and it was in Florida. It was like $3,500. I think it was like $3,500 or $4,000. So I was like, man, I see this dump trailer. It's not, pricey. I want to go buy it.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to my mechanic because, mind you, my Tundra that I paid for an engine is still in the shop. He's like, here, you can borrow my truck. So he lets me borrow his truck to go get the trailer in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And then he lets me use his truck to operate in the trailer, to haul the trailer.
Nice.
So I'm using his truck, and I have this trailer because he was slammed with work and he really couldn't get to it at the time. And I'm using his trailer, and this is fast forward because COVID was 2020, and then I had the second vehicle. So then that went down. Then 2021, the beginning of that year, I bought the truck. I mean, I borrowed. He let me borrow his truck, and I bought the trailer. Now, mind you, this trailer, I didn't even have enough money for this trailer.
Yeah, you're not loaded at this time. You're not. I mean, you're not.
I didn't have enough money for this trailer.
Super rich like you are now.
No, not super. We're working towards that though. So I was talking to my mom, and I think I had like $2,000+ to my name, maybe a little bit more in saving. And I was like, Mom, like I see this trailer out there, yada yada yada. And then she was like, okay, like, do you need to borrow some money? So my mom lent me like, I think she lent me the money to actually purchase it.
Okay.
lent me the she lent me $3,500. She lent that.
Okay.
She let me borrow it. So then I go out there, pay for the trailer. So I come back and we start working. And at the end of so COVID year happened, and we had hit like a we had hit a slow point um during COVID. But and my marketing guy was trying to figure out, ways to advertisement. We always wanted to do Google ads and all this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But something came out with Google called local service ads. So
Okay.
anybody that's watching this, if you're providing any type of service, like junk removal, I think because it's geared towards home residents,
Yeah. Okay.
or as far as like if you need service, like labor service, like
Yeah.
painting, they're geared towards that. So they Google came out with something called local service ads.
Mm-hmm.
We started local service ads at the end of 2020, and our phone started ringing with
Yeah.
ads. So then we're ringing. Now we're in 2021. I have my mechanic's truck that he let me borrow. My mom gave me 3,500. Um, gave me 3,500 to get the trailer. So it's 2021, and we're moving. And
Yeah.
we start picking up 2021. We start picking up momentum. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so then by 2021 in May, I started looking at dump trucks. So I have the box truck. I have the pickup truck and the dump trailer, and now I started looking at dump trucks. Well, I went to Chicago for a funeral, and I saw a dump truck out there that this guy was selling for like 15. It was like 15 grand,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have enough money for that either. So on the phone with my mom, I was like, yeah, I think I probably had just the amount to get it, like maybe like 15 grand to my name.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, as an entrepreneur, one thing that I've never been afraid of is investing in the business.
Sure.
That
Going on. Yeah.
I will spend all of my money,
Yeah.
business, like all of it, because
Yeah.
and that it takes money to make money.
Yeah.
You have to invest in yourself. So I was like, I got about 15 grand, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy it. But I'm like, I just had a vehicle from up north. It was rusted at the bottom. I was like, it wasn't in the best shape, but I'm like, maybe I can get a couple of good years out of it.
Yeah.
And then I'm talking to my mom, but I'm like, Mom, but I really see this this dump truck in Florida. It's like 27,500. It's a
Mm-hmm.
2012, super nice, super clean dump truck. And my mom was like, well, why don't you get that one?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have the money.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the money. And then my mom was like, well, I'll lend you 15 grand. I was like, you what?
Yeah.
So I took my 15, her 15, bought the better truck.
Yeah. And
And
that's the one you have now, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's a cool truck.
so then bought that dump truck. So now we're out here. We went from, just the box truck to now we have a truck and a trailer and then a dump truck. So we out here with three.
Yeah.
As we're working, my mechanic friend said, hey, I'll sell you the truck for 10 grand. I was like, really? I had put 2,500 on an engine already.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, we were out here with three trucks. So I had the money, and I ended up
Yeah.
buying it for 10 grand. Super, super great investment, though, that truck.
Yeah.
So I bought his truck for 10 grand. So now, and this is all in 2021. Then 2021, October hits, and we're rolling. And I ended up having money to buy two brand new dump trailers because at this point, I know that the business slows down a little bit about October
Mm-hmm.
in the fall winter season. And I was like, I'll start renting out dump trailers. So at this
Yeah.
point, I had enough money. I probably had at this point, I probably had like $56,000 in my account. Like
Mhm.
I was like, I right now account have 56,000. Like it didn't make sense to me because I've been at it and I'm like, I never got to this amount of money. And
Yeah.
we weren't taking out loans from the bank, but thank God my mother was lending me. So I had at this point I had like $56,000 to my name, and I ended up buying two. I ended up buying two dump trailers. They were $12,500 each.
Mhm.
So that's 25,000. Then I bought another dump truck in Florida. It was a diesel dump truck. It ran me the same 25,700. So with taxes and all that stuff, it was like 30,000.
Yeah.
I ended up like spent like remember I told you I had like 56,000, and then I spend 55,000 all
But
cash.
now you have a fleet of vehicles.
And
You have a
fleet of vehicles and all that. And this is 2021, and it was a perfect time because the housing market at that time, the interest rates were so low. So all of our investors were buying like crazy, like
yeah.
buying. Then we get into 2022. After I bought that, the start of the year, I ended up paying my mom $18,500 at the start of the year.
Yeah.
Paid her a year, so it was like a year loan, no interest. Beautiful. Thank God for family. Thank God for people who see the vision. Also,
Yeah. Can you see if she'll adopt me? Is she taking adoption applications?
hey man, my mom is like this. Um, so that all happened. We paid cash for everything. And again, now mind you, in my head, I'm like, it's right. The time is ready. I'm
Yeah.
spending. I spent all, like I said, 56,000 in my account. I spend 55,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you see, but by October, then in that January, we get back up to about 18.5.
Yeah.
I'm back because I'm like, I want to clear debt with everybody. I don't
Yeah.
want. I hate owing. That's
Yeah.
what I really didn't take out loans. I will take out a loan now if it makes sense, but the mindset then was like I'm not like if I have something that I know for sure, like it's gonna, I would take out a loan now, but at that point, my mind wasn't loan. Like I'm like, no, I'm staying away from loans.
Sure.
So then that all that happened 2022. We had a good year. We were on par. I'm like in my head, I'm going to spend all the money, and then in 2021, and I'm gonna make all the money back in 2022. Like I'm not gonna
Mhm.
spend as much money as I did, right? That was
Yeah.
but that's the funny thing about business. There's no logic. The logic that you think sometimes doesn't go out.
Sure.
It's not 1+1 = 2. Like as an entrepreneur, it's not that simple. So then in 2022, everything's going good, and then we hit probably the slowest season of our entire existence. You know, as good news junk removal under the LLC.
Mhm.
The housing market took, inflation and all that stuff took a super hit.
Yep.
So we go from 2021, the investors buying everything.
Yeah.
2022 October, they literally bought nothing.
Yeah.
When I say nothing in the
Mhm.
market, nothing.
That's your bread and butter.
That was the bread and butter.
Yeah.
Got our commercial going good, and then we have our residential going good. So, our residential is our Google local service ads,
Mhm.
but they start to slow down about October.
Yeah.
So that slows down. inflation's hits, stuff is slowing down for us. At this point, I'm losing employees,
Yeah.
like legit losing employees. At this point, um, the box truck goes down in October, so we lose a vehicle. At this point, and I'm being transparent, at this point, we go from 3 vehicles. Well, we go from the box truck, the 2 dump trucks, and the dump trailer and dump truck moving, 4 vehicles moving, to the box truck going down, um, the box truck going down, and then literally we have 3 vehicles now. And then out of those 3 vehicles in October, we had maybe 1 vehicle trying to survive being out there full time.
Yeah.
Whereas all of these vehicles were out there at a good like full time pace.
Yeah.
It was a drastic hit, and
Yeah.
then that wasn't good enough. Um, so our commercial side is taking a hit. So then I'm like, okay, we're taking a hit here. I'm gonna start investing in Google Ads. We get a new website built. We get ads going, and then I was like, I'm gonna put more money into Google Ads,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get scammed. If that wasn't, if all of that wasn't good enough, we get scammed, and then here we are.
Was that the button clicker one you told me about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks, man. That's crazy.
So yeah, we get scammed, and
So basically, they clicked on your ad just over and over and over again, and it charged you for each click, and so you're out thousands of dollars to Google for the ad spend, right?
mm-hmm.
That sucks, man. Didn't you have a trailer stolen at one point too?
Yeah, trailer stolen, brand new trailer stolen also.
Oh gosh,
I
the
was,
joys of being an entrepreneur and growing your own thing and
that's,
getting punched in the face.
that's like literally entrepreneur is like you like yeah I'm on top.
Yeah.
Now like I said, that's why I'm like I hear you give me these words of affirmation, and I'm like thank you, but
Right.
I don't feel any of that you're saying. So I feel like now we're again in the rebuilding stage, all over rebuilding, and you know
Yeah.
taking it day by day. So that was the journey. That was the ride.
Yeah. You're too hard on yourself, man. You're doing really good. And I think if you shared your like business industry aside, if you just shared your top line revenue and your bottom, like your profit, per year, however you did it, you, you're doing really, really. I know a good bit of business owners. You're doing really, really well for the size of business and like what your financial goals are and everything. So I don't be too hard on yourself. Like you're killing it, man.
Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
And with very little debt. A lot of the people that I know that are successful, they are like addicted to leverage. They're addicted to putting everything on credit card or line of credit or whatever. So
Yeah,
uh,
that was one thing that I did. I wanted to stay away from, especially
yeah,
as you can see, stuff happens. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've always tried to keep my overhead, as
Yeah.
down.
You're
Over
gonna be a cash money millionaire, bro. That's Alix soon.
Picking it over me, I'm receiving it.
Okay, so tell me about the art studio job. So I was doing my YouTube series. Uh, I want to prove to people that you can go from anybody can do what I'm doing. So like low income people, people that are in prison that just got out, drug addicts, people that are underprivileged, black, white, Hispanic,
Yeah.
whoever can do like anybody could do what I'm doing. And so I did this challenge, $0 to $1,000 cash challenge, and you made my whole challenge. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here. I have it on my whiteboard. I don't want to move my setup to show you, but I added up how much money I made from your junk removal job, and it's conservatively I got 1680 plus 700 plus 200. So I'm over $2,000 in potential profit.
Right.
And if I had had a second van there, I would have maybe doubled that and gotten more.
Tell them what van you pulled up in?
Yeah, it's
Little, a little minivan.
so so
$1,000 in them.
so to give some context, Alix, he had a reel on his social media where he was basically removing a big library of books, and so I was like, "Hey man, I want those freaking books. Don't throw those away, or donate them or whatever you do with them." And he said, "Man, that was 3 weeks ago. I couldn't find those books if I wanted to." And I said, "If you have another job like that, I'm doing this challenge. I would love to come and pick through your junk," basically. And so a couple weeks later, he called me. There was an art school that had a 99-year lease in Atlanta. The lease was up, and how many square foot was it?
Oh man,
Maybe like 30,000 or something. Like, it
that,
was huge.
yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, it was this huge place, and so if you watch any of my content, it's where I got those Apple computer things, and then the bulk of it was there was books. Those books that I was pulling out box by box.
mm-hmm.
There's a ton of, and I say potential profit because I'm assuming they'll sell eventually. Maybe they'll go down in price, or I'll take a lower offer or whatever. But I got a ton of stuff for my reselling business, and that pushed me over in the challenge. It pushed me over the $1,000, which was a cool thing. But on the whole other side, you're employing 10 people or something crazy to go tackle this job.
Yeah,
You're making real money on big commercial contracts. Like that. Like, that's a huge deal, man.
yeah, yeah. That was cool. So side note, to the podcast family, Cody still won't go into business with me. Listen, listen, we've been about this for a long time, and I'm like, Cody, I get stuff, man. I just don't got time to go through it and sell it, man. But come on, come with me. Listen, he still won't come in. He still won't get into business. So if you keep watching him, come business with me. You see, it's lucrative for him, right? Okay.
It was very, very. I told Haley, I was like, I just made at the time I told her 1,500. I said, I think I just made like $1,500 driving and doing Alex's, and then when I added up, I was like, holy crap, I was scanning the books and
Yeah.
it would be like $80 profit. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I scanned the next one. Oh my God,
That's great.
but I heard someone recently say that books are not a good place to do reselling, and I totally disagree. I think books are a gold mine. Like, I think anytime you have books, I'm interested. So do you remember back in like 2017, 2018, you sold me that box truck full of books?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I remember.
I overpaid for those. I didn't make any money on that,
Oh, you
but
did?
yeah, but that was the beginning of when I did books, and then I did a bulk book business after that, and that was the beginning of it.
You learn from that though,
I
because
learned a ton from that.
instead of him coming and buying all the books, he comes in himself and he scans. He starts to,
Yeah,
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 not, So hey, you learn from it. But yeah, that office clean out. So it was huge, huge. I call it the Stranger Things office. Because it looked kind of weird. It's like weird. Some places would look weird. It's dark hallways. It was huge.
yeah.
But I got that job because that job I landed because in 20 it was like 2018, 2019. I was coming out of pirate printing. We have these embroidery shirts made. There was a construction company that also was there that were they were getting their shirts. So, I had my truck. We had it wrapped. Good news junk removal. It's good to have your stuff wrapped. You're in
Sure.
business. You got little magnets. You're trying to advertise wherever you can. I might have not even been in my truck though. I might have been in my car, but I had the little magnet on the side where it says junk removal. And the guy said, "Oh, you do junk removal."
Yeah.
He was like, I'm the owner of this construction company. Uh, we just put all of our junk, because at this point they weren't doing large cleanups. They would put their junk in storage units. So, after like 4 cleanups, storage unit full. So then
Yeah.
they would pay us to remove it.
Yeah.
So we were we were clearing out their storage unit like on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So I there we had connected with. He was like one of the supervisors there. He was a super cool guy. Talking with them, and just later down the line, he called me out of nowhere, like, "Hey, do you still do junk removal?" Because he started
Mhm.
working for a company, and he's like, "Oh, I work for this company, and there's times that we get these jobs. They're like a handy service. Time that we get these jobs that have junk in it. That's too much for us. And would you be interested in this thing? Like, it's got a crap ton of stuff."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And we get out there, this office building, and I know, or as he said, it's old school, and it was a crap ton of stuff. And Cody, you saw it, so it was a lot of stuff. So we got that job, through I guess would that be through community
Networking. Yeah, just general networking.
networking. So that's how we got that job. And the way that we try to price our jobs, there's times that we just charge by load size.
Hmm.
So we try to calculate in our head how many loads, how many times will we fill up our truck. So that's how we price. Now, there's some jobs that I'll give an example. Like, say, for instance, if we have a full load of junk in a garage, but if you take that same full load of junk in the garage and you disperse it through a 3,000 square foot house, it's going to take more time to load.
Sure.
So the pricing is different between if it's all consolidated or if it's spread out. So there's sometimes that we, on top of our full load, we have an hourly rate
Sure.
depending on conditions, how long it take to load, if we have to do
Yeah.
any tedious stuff like that.
You won't be working for free.
Yeah, so for that one, we just charged straight up by load size because there wasn't really much like cleaning involved, and I was confident enough that I would get enough crews out there. I had enough time to where we wouldn't spend more than really like 2 hours per truckload. So our full truck price is 525, and we give about a 2 hour limit per truckload. So if it takes us longer than 2 hours to load up our truck, then we want to start thinking about a labor fee, is what we call it, and
Sure.
then hourly rate per two guys. Now with that specific one, I still wanted to be very competitive in my quote, and it's funny because so we quoted it at 10 loads at 525 per load. That's 10,500. And the cool thing about that was somebody came in under us and they still went with us. So that's one of the things that I would point to God,
Sure.
like we live in a time where it's like I'm trying to save money, right? And it's like, well, we're the company that they chose. So
Yeah. Quality. I mean, you have a reputation. That's great. What would you say to somebody who wants to get into junk removal? Like say they want to get in and do what you did in the beginning. You're making a living. I know people who are not making a living doing what they're doing, and I know people who are unemployed or have different things going on. So they want to start a junk removal company. Outside of your area, of course. What's your advice to that person?
um so now, I guess context, a little more context. Would this person have money for marketing, or they just got a truck and they're just
Yeah, let's say they have a pickup truck, and they have $2,000.
Pickup truck and $2,000. So I would first say, so again, with when I was praying about whether, because I was in between whether I was going to do junk removal or moving, like do I do this or do I do that? And when I was praying, I felt like God was saying the same thing that He said to Gideon and in the book of Judges. Gideon was a man who he absolutely didn't believe in himself or his abilities, right? He didn't he was a fearful man. And a lot of times fear is what stops like the birth of entrepreneurs, right? The fear, because it takes a risk to go out there,
Sure.
not have the luxury to be able to clock in and out and know for sure this is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So it takes a level. It takes a level of risk. But with risk, there's also that other side of risk where there's a potential for reward, right?
Sure.
So that's what entrepreneurs. The mindset is they're not looking at the risk, but they're looking at the reward. So really, it's a mindset thing where you get out here and you focus on the reward, you focus on the goal. And for me, if the person had a pickup truck and $2,000, I personally would start by, where are my Facebook groups? I would
Sure.
start right there. My Facebook group, my Facebook communities. I would see what communities do I have in the area that I can reach out and let them know, like, hey, we're doing small pickups. Again, another thing you want to do, you want to study your market. You really don't want to you really don't have to short change yourself if you call other companies that you aspire to be in that bubble with them.
Yeah.
So then you start calling these companies and say, hey, what would you charge for about a pickup truck's worth of junk? So I would call 3 to 5 companies and see, hey, what are these guys charging for a pickup truck's worth? And then I can know, like, kind of where I want to get my range for about
Yeah.
a pickup truck's worth, because that's all I have. So I would call companies, seeing what they're charging for about a pickup truck's worth. I would hit up my Facebook community groups, get the name out there.
Yeah.
Also, you can spend money on Craigslist. You have $2,000, so you don't really have this big budget to, obviously market online. But I will hit up my Craigslist, do like Craigslist ads, probably spend $5 to $10 a day. You'll start your free Google My Business. It's free.
Yeah.
Have a little website presence, probably contact somebody to get, $500 website made, and
Sure.
then just do good work.
Do good work. I like that.
Do good work. Don't try to shortcut. Don't try to shortcut. It's not good for the reputation, for your reputation. Don't try to shortcut. Don't try to get over on anybody. Work with integrity, upfront costs,
Yeah. Sure.
and do good work, and just day by day, just repeat the processes. Just repeat till you get enough money to where you're gonna have to spend money. If you're planning on growing, you're gonna have to spend money marketing. Like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna grow without marketing. It's just like, you're not. So that's where I would start.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's like that little clip. I'm gonna try to clip that. I mean, that you could almost just take that whole thing and just apply it to almost any business. That's powerful stuff.
Yeah, and it's possible. Like, I love what you're doing because you're inspiring people who who feel like they have nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the story with Gideon. Gideon felt like, I have nothing. I'm the least of my family, and God said, "Go with what you have." And that was the word that I heard. Go with what you have.
Yeah.
don't focus on what you don't have. Look at what you have and look at what you can do with what you have. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I have about this amount of money. Um, and so for our story, we didn't have that much money.
Mm-hmm.
Sold her vehicle and took every single dollar from it and put it into the company in about
Yeah.
20. You know what I mean? So, and we bought a website, got the truck wrapped, like, stuff like that. So
Yeah. I'm going to say one thing, to anybody who's listening in the future or now, I have a junk removal company. I don't know if you know this. I have a Facebook page, McCarson Family Junk Removal. And my idea when, at some point, I must have thought it was a good idea. My idea was I'm going to do free junk removal and clothes, books, shoes, whatever. And if worse comes to worse, if I'm starving, I can go pick up people's free junk and list it on eBay and sell it. And I've done some of that, and it was very successful. And I did basically what you're talking about. I put it in the groups,
yeah,
and then I ran a few ads on Facebook. This was a while back, but you know in that world, like you can make some real money. If you're broke, offer to pick up people's stuff and call, real estate offices and places like that. You can pick up people's, especially in like these rich neighborhoods, get their clothes, get their shoes, get their books, get their old toys and their blah blah blah, and then you just sort it out, and the stuff that you think is worth selling on eBay, put it in the sell pile, and then the rest take it to a thrift store or junket or whatever, and then you have free inventory. I think you could literally build a 6-7 figure business just by doing like picking stuff up for free. That's what Goodwill does. It's the Goodwill model. And if you're smart and you can get those types of jobs in the richer neighborhoods, you can do a Facebook ad. The ad that I did, I targeted 40-year-old women that had an annual household income in the top 5%.
yeah,
So I was looking for rich women, and I was just targeting, we'll do a free clean out, free whatever. If I were super broke, if I were having, trying to get positive cash flow and try to get, traction, I would do something like that. Like that's a real, or partner with somebody like you and be like, hey, can I just, come to your job site and get $2,000 worth of free stuff for the free, and that's a good strategy too.
yeah, for sure. We're still me and Cody. We're gonna open up a thrift store in the future one of these days. We're
I'm in one day soon. Well, let's talk about
do that.
it. Well, man, thank you so much for coming on. I hope your family's good, and if you ever need anything from me, let me know.
Yeah, vice versa, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, sure. All right, see you. Oh, one more thing. If you're in the Atlanta area, or if you're interested in watching Alix's content, it's Good News Junk Removal. They do really good work, and Alix is a really, really good guy to know. So go follow him, support his business, and things like that.
Yeah.
All right, goodbye, everybody.
God bless you guys.
All right, hold on with me.